Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Cockfighting, the dirtiest sport in the world.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast. In this episode, my weird dad will be talking about
the year 2021.
Hello, and welcome to Wake Up Heavy, Recollections of Horror. This is Mark Begley, your host, with the year-end wrap-up episode, 2021. Thank God you're done.
Throw it out your bunghole.
I am doing things a little bit differently this year, making some things easier for myself, and also sparing you, the audience, listening to me rattle off lists and lists of movies. So first change, and I just started doing this last year actually, the music mix for the prior year, songs that appeared on episodes either in whole or as clips. I went ahead and created a Spotify playlist. It's on the website right now. I will add a link to the playlist on the episode notes for this episode as well. I did that for a number of reasons, which I won't bore you with. One of the main reasons is I included a Beatles song, and I didn't want to run the risk of having this pulled from iTunes or SoundCloud for copyright reasons.
I Dig a Pygmy by Charles Hawtrey and the Deaf Aids. Phase 1, in which Doris gets her oats.
There were two songs that I wasn't able to include. They just simply weren't in Spotify's library. One of them was Rancho Deluxe.
Rancho Deluxe.
Which I played over and over again. So maybe I'll play out with that at the end of this episode. Also, I'm not going to go through my whole list of new watches for 2021. I am going to create a letterboxed list with those and link that to the episode notes for this. I went through and cherry-picked a handful to rattle off on this episode, but I think that will save a considerable amount of time. Plus, I have a couple other things I want to talk about. Since this is January, I need to do my December watches, and that was mainly rewatches, a couple new watches with Cleo and the family, but it was annual holiday traditional watches for us for the most part.
Ho, ho, ho.
We caught the 1949 version of Little Women because it plays on TCM a bunch during the month. We watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because we get a kick out of it.
We're going to press on, and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. And when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney tonight, he's going to find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. You're goofy.
A new one that we watched on Netflix, A Boy Called Christmas, was pretty cute. And we typically watch the Disney animated version of A Christmas Carol, and we did so again this year. It's on Disney Plus, and we have that, so why not? We caught Love Actually on TV, which is not one of my favorites, but we were all home that day, sitting around the TV, and watched it right afterward. They played The Family Stone, which I had never seen, because Luke Wilson is in that, and my wife and I had mentioned to Cleo that we need to watch some Wes Anderson films together. We watched The Royal Tenenbaums.
You've had a rough year, Dad. I know you have, Chazzy.
Which I hadn't watched in a while. Big Wes Anderson fan up to a point. Haven't seen the new one yet. And I think that Cleo enjoyed it pretty well. I liked seeing it again. Cleo and I watched a movie that had a troubled, long production history. And this was for an episode I was supposed to do on the Culture Cast, but that got postponed. But it's this animated film called The Thief and the Cobbler. Really interesting. It's on YouTube. Find the recobbled cut. Interesting animation that in parts looks like 3D or CGI animation, then it isn't. We watched it and Cleo just kept saying, this movie is insane. I think she said it about 50 times, and I agree. We watched The Muppet Christmas Carol, The Year Without a Santa Claus, annual tradition for us.
I'm Mr. Green Christmas, I'm Mr. Sun.
A new movie that we watched that I think a lot of people like and probably like it because they grew up with it. I absolutely hated it, and I don't think Cleo or my wife enjoyed it all that much either. Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did not like it.
Don't bullshit me. Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
As a family, we watched the new Jane Campion film, The Power of the Dog. Cleo was bored by it, and I can understand that. It is a Jane Campion movie. It's probably a little out of her age range, but my wife and I really enjoyed it. Because of the new show Yellow Jackets, I keep seeing Melanie Lynskey popping up on my Twitter feed, and she is in one of my favorite films, Macon Blair's I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, and so I made them watch it, and they got a big kick out of it. I don't think Cleo enjoyed Melanie Lynskey's projectile vomiting towards the end of the film, but overall, it was a big success.
And I can't feel at home in this world anymore.
And then Cleo and I caught the Dawn of the Dead remake, and she enjoyed it. I actually liked that remake. My rewatches mainly revolved around the show, Black Christmas, Rolling Thunder. We had a real gloomy, dark, cold day, or we've had a few of them since then, but I watch Eraserhead when it's that kind of weather, and I did.
We've got chicken tonight.
My only real first-time watches were The Old Dark House, courtesy of Shudder. Great, quirky, pre-code horror film. I watched the Japanese noir film Cruel Gun Story on TCM. And I watched A Perfect Murder. Popped up on TV on one of our cable channels. I had never seen it. I was like, oh, this is an interesting cast. Viggo Mortensen, Gwyneth Paltrow, Michael Douglas. About halfway through, I was like, this seems awfully familiar. Looked at it on IMDb and realized, oh, it's basically the same story as Dial M for Murder, which I really enjoy. And, it's all right. It's a typical modern thriller, but it had some nice twists and turns.
I hope that I never see that face ever outside of a dream.
For the first time watches for me in 2021, there weren't a ton. I only logged 313 movies this year on Letterboxd. I would say a good 80% were rewatches, and that's just how this year went. A lot of comfort watches, a lot of I can't find something new to watch right now. I just want to watch something I know. These are the few that I picked out from the longer list that I'm not going to rattle off and I'll put on Letterboxd. And you'll see as I go through this, and again, this is another reason why I'm not doing the whole list. I have mentioned these on these monthly episodes like this, or prior to that when I would include the watches at the tail end of an episode. So it's a bit repetitive, but these are the standouts for me for the year, starting with something from Shudder called Caveat, the Australian film Allison's Birthday, more on that in a little bit, the remake of Slumber Party Massacre from the Sci-Fi Channel, which I just got a big kick out of, another Shudder film, shouldn't say Shudder film, another film I watched on Shudder that I had been looking forward to for a long time, Just Before Dawn. Way back towards the beginning of the year, I finally caught the strange early Canadian horror film The Mask and watched it in 3D. The 3+ hour documentary Woodland Dark and Days Bewitched. Again, more on that in a little bit. One of the Monty Hellman films that I really enjoyed this year, The Shooting. The new to me Brian De Palma film Obsession, which I really, really enjoyed. The Empty Man popped up on, I believe, HBO Max towards the beginning of the year. And that is a film that people had been talking about for a while. Really strange, really fascinating, modern horror. What I originally thought was a Monty Hellman film ended up being Thomas McGuane film, 92 in the Shade. The Walter Matthau heist film, Charlie Varick. Another heist film, The Hot Rock.
Afghanistan, Bananistan.
Watched a lot of heist films this year, if you remember. One of the standout modern horror films I saw this year was Relic. I believe it's still playing on Showtime. Catch it if you haven't already. And then Dr. X, a film that I talked about early on. Again, another pre-code horror film. And they did some wacky stuff in those pre-code days. Some of the neo-noir that I
That doesn't sound right.
particularly enjoyed. Remember My Name, Night Moves, and Cutter's Way. The film I Start Counting, one of my purchases from Fun City Editions. One of the
There we go again.
and one of the more recent modern horror films. Kind of horror.
What are you even talking about?
Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. For my 5-star watches, new watches, this first one isn't really a new watch. There's 2 episodes almost devoted to this film, but 5 Elements Ninjas I put as a 5-star watch. Not really a new watch. I saw it as a kid. Go back and listen to those episodes. Citizen Kane and Get Back. We finally finished that 8-hour documentary. Could it be shorter? Yes. Will it be boring for some people? Probably. I ate it all up. Enjoyed seeing the process. Enjoyed seeing them a little bit differently than I ever have before.
A surprise audience like we might get tomorrow, or I'll let you
I just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you.
I was going to sit here silent, look at you. So, no, I'll tell you about it.
And then my top 3 favorite new watches for me in 2021 were Sorcerer, William Friedkin's amazing, amazing film, Cockfighter with Warren Oates,
Cockfighting,
directed by Monty Hellman, and, of course, Rancho Deluxe.
Rancho Deluxe.
I'd have to give the top spot to Rancho Deluxe overall, and you have heard me talk about it all throughout the year. Kind of sad that song wasn't on Spotify, but like I said, maybe I'll play out with it one more time. I mentioned Allison's Birthday and Woodland's Dark and Days Bewitched. Boy, that title always confounds me.
That's weird.
As of today, January 10th, when I am recording this, they are on Shudder, along with a good number of other films that were included in the box set that you could buy with the documentary and with, I'm not sure how many films they included, some that were unearthed during the process of making the documentary. They got the rights to. 7 Films has restored them. And so a number of them are on Shudder today. If you don't have Shudder, now's a really good time to do it, even if it's just to do one of those slimy free trial runs and then drop it. They've got Allison's Birthday, Eyes of Fire, Leptirica, which has been on my list for a long time, and a whole bunch of other ones. And this month has been absolutely filled with great releases from Shudder. They have the Paul Morrissey / Andy Warhol films Blood for Dracula and Flesh for Frankenstein. They have some of my favorite quirky 70s films and some new ones that I had been looking for that I finally got to watch. Of course, this will all be in my January 2022 watch list episode, so I'll get to them again. This might be one of the greatest months of releases for them that I've ever seen since I have had Shudder, which has been a good number of years now. So I'm really excited to check out the ones I haven't seen. I'm really excited to watch Eyes of Fire in this remastered version. I still need to get the Blu-ray, but I hadn't done it yet, and it's on there today, so I'm going to watch it.
Reach anybody. We're 1,000 miles from nowhere, man, and it's going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets any better.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about was how Wake Up Heavy did this year. And I didn't know how things were going to go since we're still stuck in the pandemic. To a certain extent, things are still, my wife and daughter are out of the house now. My office is still operating virtually pretty much. But with that stress and anxiety with all of this, I wasn't sure what kind of episodes were going to be out. I started doing those monthly episodes and had some good solid feature-length episodes on specific films. So about halfway through the year, I realized, I have a lot more plays than previous years at this point. Kind of started to feel like I was going to be able to get to 6,000 plays by the end of the year. Okay, remember, and I've discussed this before, the amount of plays that my show gets pales in comparison to most big shows. 6,000 plays could be the first day for a lot of podcasts. I'm not comparing myself to other podcasts. I can only compare myself to what's come before. So 6,000 plays seemed like a lot. As the months rolled on, I realized, I'm going to get past that. And I would change my goal. It's not really a goal. I can't do anything about how many plays I get except to release tons and tons of episodes. Regardless, as things would progress, as the months would go on, having months with 600, 700, 800 plays, even 1,000 plays at one point. The highest month was almost 1,400 plays. I started to realize, maybe I'll hit 7,200. That would average out to 600 plays a month. That would be really great. That would be so much better than the previous 2 full years I can compare it to. Surpassed that at some point, and I thought, maybe we'll get to 8,000, and then surpass that, and finally ended up the year with 9,384 plays. And when I did my little calculations, that averages out to 1 play per hour for every day of the year. And that just kind of blew my mind because I never really expected the show to get to that point. So somebody at least starts an episode on average every hour of every day for a whole year. I don't think I've done anything in my various creative endeavors over the years that has reached that many people. I'm really happy with that. I don't know what will happen this year. I doubt I can top that, but who knows? That's more than the 2.5 years prior combined, more plays than that. It's more than double last year, more than double the year before that. Who knows? I'm not looking for double this year. I'd be happy to get close to the plays for 2021, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I don't have huge plans for the year. I have been getting more and more guests on, so that opens up what I can do for episodes. Next week will be a new episode with Heather Drain, who's been on the show and who I've been on the Projection Booth podcast with, talking about a movie that she brought to me, having Anthony King, Heather, Mike, Chris, maybe Sam Deegan will come back for something. Having that option available opens it up, plus my monthly watch list, news and notes episodes, and whatever other weird stuff pops into my head. Now, I was planning to take February off of recording because I'm supposed to take over the Culture Cast. I'm assuming that's still happening, but Chris has been sick, so I don't know if it's gotten postponed. There's a whole theme that I came up with that's really weird, and a very interesting set of 4 movies based on this oddball theme. I will keep everyone apprised of that as it goes along.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. You have early onset grumpiness.
And then one last thing I wanted to add to the show that I usually just do on social media is the top 10 most played episodes of the year. And this is episodes released this year that were specific to Wake Up Heavy, i.e. not episodes that I got from appearances on the Projection Booth. There are some Culture Cast crossover episodes, though, because that was the intent of those episodes. So, without further ado, starting with the number 10 episode, Season 5, Episode 3, Deranged, Confessions of a Necrophile.
Look at them tits.
Number 9 was the October 2021 episode.
Blow it out your bunghole.
Number 8, the Wake Up Heavy crossover with Culture Cast on Poltergeist.
Carol Ann! Carol Ann!
Number 7, this was from early in the year, TV and the Projection Booth. Talked about movies that I watched on TV, plus movies that I discovered from listening to the Projection Booth.
My name is T.S. Garp.
The top 6 episode was Season 5, Episode 4, I Died for You, Death Dream.
Well, mind your own goddamn business.
Right after that, number 5, Season 5, Episode 2, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
I peed my pants.
The number 4 most played episode of the year was my interview with Michael Pilmer, a.k.a. Devo Obsesso, all about his work with and for one of my all-time favorite bands. D-E-V-O! The 3rd most played episode was my Blu-ray review of Rancho Deluxe. Here we go with Rancho Deluxe again.
The poor people of this state are dope fiends for pickup trucks.
And the number 2 was another crossover with Culture Cast on Halloween Kills.
40 years ago, the boogeyman came for us. We are the survivors of Michael Myers.
Lori, what do we do?
We fight.
And drum roll, please. The number 1 most played episode of the year was Season 5, Episode 1, Looking for Mr. Goodbar.
You've read the book, you've seen the movie. Now, introducing the Looking for Mr. Goodbar Sleepy Time playset.
So most of those episodes had co-hosts. There were a couple just solo ventures in there. I'd like to offer up a final thank you to everyone who appeared on the show this year. Mike White, Chris Dashew, Sam Deegan, Heather Drain, Simon Fitzjohn, Anthony King, Michael Pilmer, and of course, my cool kid Cleo.
Hey, that's me.
And thank you all for listening, new and old listeners. Happy to have you. Thanks for making this the most successful year of Wake Up Heavy thus far. So look for the Spotify playlist. There's a lot of great King Kong and Godzilla songs on it from those episodes that Cleo and I did together.
I'm King Kong and I'm 10 feet long. Got a big six gun, everybody.
A couple of other funky tracks. It's just a weird mix of songs. And also look for the Letterboxd list, the extended list of favorite first-time watches. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. Be careful out there. Be safe, be smart, and don't forget.
Anything can happen when you wake up heavy.
Things got me thinking about Georgie Wood, and now we'd like to do All the Angels Come.
A restless daydream, thoughts of jail, dust clouds rising, tearing down the trail. Got our plans laid to make a few bucks, buy a spread called Rancho Deluxe. No, we're not outlaws or common thieves, just a few aces with cards up our sleeves. So we've got to gamble, got to take a chance. Want to see the whole show and not just one dance. Yeah, we got to try and find the way. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna drink, we're gonna play. Just bouncing around the mountains day to day. Oh, crazy mountains, they named you well. White men, red men, stories we heard tell.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.